we've tried to bring in a vast, different background to what we want to do here. That's why we are asking, elect this whole slate in. We are here about education, top to bottom. Education is the most important part. And I don't know how many out here in 9th grade did you know what you were going to do, and are you doing that now? I really doubt it. So my whole thing is, don't educate the kids for what they think they want to do. Educate them for what life is going to throw at them in the end. Because if we don't do that, that's why we're running into issues we see now. They have to be able to adapt. They have to be able to work out they have that drive for work. But give you a little bit of history about myself. I worked, first of all, I have my bachelor's degree in education. Okay, so I went to be a teacher because I knew I could be creative and educate students and do that. What I'm hearing from teachers, they don't have the ability to do that because they have instructional facilitators, for example, that they have to pull all this data. The teachers have to collect all this data, then they have to go into these meetings, and they have to be, okay, this is what works, so you need to do this. Well, that takes away that creativity and the way they can teach. We need that. The kids must have that. The teachers, if you were a teacher, you would teach different than I would. And you would teach things different than the way I would, but I would do it the way I can be effective in it. I worked so I took my degree and I worked in an area of kids with special needs. What I did is I didn't just have one school district I had to work with. Okay, here we have the county school district. We had multiple school districts in the county. I actually had to handle over 10 to 12 different school districts that we dealt with. And what we did is we looked for different ways that we could find to make them more streamlined in what the school districts do. We could save them money by providing a better service at a lower price. And any money that we would profit or make, we'd give back to the school districts. So I've been involved in a lot of different ways of saving districts money, and different ways of doing that I can bring forward to what we do here. So we have a problem coming up with being a teacher shortage, staff shortage. And it's not just the teachers, you have janitors, you have bus drivers, we have a lot that goes into educating our kids. And we have to take care of all that. Well, we can't do that if we're not fiscally responsible with the budget. Well, we have a budget person, as well as I've been in the budget, different aspects of it, and that's what we need to do to ensure that we can afford to keep the teachers, but to hire the teachers that we need as well. So we talked a little bit about we'd like to pull in some teachers, but we don't have the teachers for it. Well, part of the problem is maybe we can't pay them enough because we didn't hand our money. And my kids, I have one that just graduated in the spring last year from Laramie High School. I have one that's in 10th grade, and I have one that's going to graduate from the University of Wyoming here in the spring. So we've been through a lot. They have gone from a school that got 81% of their students were proficient in math, in English, and so on and so forth. So they went to a really good school before we came here. Do you know what the rates are here? Math, 46% of your kids come out proficient. 46% compared to 81 is what my kids got until they moved here. We can do better. We shouldn't just look at, we were above the average in Wyoming. No, let's look to what the whole country's doing. We can do better than 46% or 64%. And we have to do that. So I did a lot. We dealt with getting kids with special needs services that they needed. I was heavily involved in getting the funding for that so that we could pay the teachers and so on and so forth, and the one-on-one aides, the TSSs, the BSCs, behavioral health specialists, that type of stuff. We got the funding for that, and very, very creative at times. I've dealt with insurance companies, I've dealt with the county, different county governments, federal governments, you name it, we've dealt with it, and we've driven through that. When I say we, me, but. So I also, now I do a little bit of database design, and I deal with medical manufacturers, people who build tables for offices, deal with eye doctors, I deal with cyber schools. We deal with what's called intermediate units, which deals with all those districts I talked about, school districts directly. So you name it, we deal with those companies, but we try to help, and what we do is consult, and then we take what they're doing in their factories or in their office, the HR department, so on and so forth, and we make it better, more streamlined using technology. So I feel I also can bring that to the table for our school board. And the biggest thing we noticed was that there's no communication from the school board, right? That's what we hear. We hear it constantly, there's no communication. We want communication with each and every parent, and especially the county. They have absolutely missing. I'm from Centennial. I know a little bit about being outside of the box and what people are looking at. I want to be your voice for it. We all want to be your voice for it. It's not just me. Every single one person here also looks to that. If we're going to go back to the board that's there, I have the flyer here somewhere. It doesn't even mention parents in what they're looking at. Yeah, they talk about the students, and yes, they are the important. They're the crux of what we're trying to get through here. But we must talk to the parents. We must understand what they want, what they don't want. And we've got to listen to that. A couple of school board members, they have said that the parents should have no say in the reading material that's in the schools. And I'll show you the names of the people who have said that. But everybody is on with those people. They're running as a slate with those people, so they also believe it as well. They think the teachers and the librarians should absolute, top to bottom, decision making on what is in the schools for your reading materials. So I'd like to look at, number one, can we afford to pay the teachers? Can we also be physically responsible enough to ensure that we can bring people to our schools, the high quality? But I also think we need to look at what's on the teachers' plates. Every time we throw something on the teacher's plate, do they check and see if it worked, if it helped, if it raised the scores, if it raised the students' education? No, but the teachers must keep doing it. So I really want to take a look at what's on the teacher's plate and kind of relieve a lot of what there that is not doing any benefit